It's locked, all right. I cannot enter. Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Milton cheats patients out of their money at this hospital, Pippa. Are you his accomplice?
Yes, I am.
Is this your definition of being useful? By abusing the sick and poor?
No. It is my definition of getting out of this useless life once and for all.
Whose idea was it?
What difference does it make? We did it together, and I'm guilty as charged.
Answer my question.
It was my idea first, even though Milton would say it was his, to protect me.
Why do you do it?
Why not? Most of the sick who paid for a bed are already dead, or will be soon. Don't you see the futility of all this?
You put a price on hope. This goes against everything you swore to uphold as a nurse.
Report me then, Dr. Reed. Report the little nurse and keep on lying about the surgical errors, the wrong dosages and diagnostics that we all covered for the sake of our colleagues.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins. Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Can you tell me anything about the recent commotion in the hospital?
It's a tragedy, pure and simple. The hospital is meant to be a safe haven to all. We failed the people who trusted us with their care.
Do you think I should not have brought Mr. Hampton back here?
It's not your fault. You rescued that poor soul. It was the Christian thing to do. But we should have noticed his instability.
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Tell me more about cherished people, then.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett. Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Why does Dr. Tippett claim you're the main reason he keeps working, despite his fatigue?
If it wasn't for him, I probably would have left the Pembroke years ago.
Dr. Tippett does not think of you as just a nurse anymore, does he?
If you're suggesting he's not taking my gender into consideration when it comes to medical practice and knowledge, I really hope he doesn't.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
Do you need my assistance?
Don't be ridiculous. I'm capable of dealing with this myself. I've just not taken the time to do so.
Then you are lucky that I have taken the time to do so. Consider it a gesture of solidarity between professionals.
I wish this hospital could have received as much attention from you, Dr. Reed. We do not see you in surgery very often.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Such a pleasure to see you again.
Do you need medical attention?
Well, the proximity of the dead is not the most healthy company, even if the quiet can be appreciated.
Don't take too many risks with your health, Mr. Chidana. None of us are immune to this disease.
And that is a good thing. Death and disease is a constant reminder of our mortality. But you have my thanks, Dr. Reed.
Please show me what you have to sell.
Of course. It's just trinkets and curios, really. But I'm sure they can be useful. Tomorrow, more bodies will arrive and then sadly depart. Management's reign.
I were young again. Just a dozen years or so.
Good evening, Dr. Tibbets.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Goodbye, Dr. Tibbets. Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
Someone killed Miss Jones in her room, and Mr. Hampton's gone missing. Doesn't take a genius to piece it together.
You don't seem shocked by any of this.
Why should I be? Whoever did this must be long gone by now. And besides, he got rid of the old bag.
Why do you have such a mediocre reputation among your colleagues, Milton?
Fuck them. Nobody knows the horrors I've seen since working here. This city was sick long before the epidemic, Dr. Reed.
I know it's a difficult task, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not the job you are paid to do?
I've seen babies left to die while their brothers were properly fed. Underage girls and boys sold to all manner of perverts.
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, exactly. We lack words. So excuse me if I don't look on the bright side of life.
Do you know that Nurse Hawkins is thinking of leaving the hospital?
That's not a surprise. We've talked about it already.
Does it not bother you?
Sometimes I think she may be right. We should run away while we can. Question is, where can we go? Where is it safe?
Admit it. Nurse Hawkins is more than your lover. She's also your partner in crime.
Of course she is. How else could I tell which bed is free? I need to know that.
Have you no shame?
Don't you see this city is crumbling down? Today people are ready to pay to get a hospital bed. Tomorrow we may be fighting for food.
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
Oh, Jonathan, I cannot believe my eyes. Poor woman. Butchered by some savage scowl.
Yes, and I'm afraid I'm at least partially responsible. The man, the Scowl, I brought him here.
Jonathan, how could you say such a thing?
Forgive me if I feel despondent, for there seems to be no end to the suffering and death that surrounds us.
I'm always here for you, Jonathan.
I have experienced a certain difficulty when faced with holy symbols or trying to enter religious buildings. Have you?
Now that's quite a question. I don't know why, but yes, it has happened to me.
Aren't you frightened?
Very little scares me, my dear. To be compelled to avoid symbols of faith does not concern me.
Is this a sign? The hand of God in action? we repellent unto heaven?
I don't have the answers, Jonathan. But I believe superstition and magic is just fact awaiting the lens of science.
Have you embraced this woman, like the other patient, this Mr. Renfield?
Her name was Amelia. And no, I did not kill her. I vowed a very long time ago that I would never take another life, unless they ask.
Is there sufficient vitality in the blood of the sick and dying patients?
Yes, Jonathan. The hunger gnaws at me every waking hour. Frankly, I'm starving.
Temptation surrounds us. Rich, vital. How can you resist?
Over the years, any pleasure I once gleaned from feeding is long gone. I drink for sustenance. And though I still thirst for more, I restrain myself.
What do you know of Ascalon? I was threatened by a creature, a vampire in Whitechapel, stating I had to obey the law of conduct.
What more can you tell me about him?
He was bigger than a man. Huge, in fact. He seemed to radiate violence. I thought he was going to tear me apart. Then he vanished.
Fergal, the executioner of Ascalon. You were fortunate he was not after you, but rather out doing his master's bidding.
What is Ascalon?
The Ascalon Club are the most powerful vampires in Britain and exert tremendous influence. Take my advice and stay well away.
Thank you, my lady. I hope to see you again soon.
Hey, Doc.
How is your hospitalization going, Mr. Cox?
This is a shitty place with shitty staff. As long as I'm treated all right, I'll be fine.
What's wrong with the Pembroke staff?
That bastard you sent to bring me here, Milton, I thought he was going to break all my bones before I reached my bed.
I see. Any other smart comments?
The nurses aren't too ugly. Especially that foxy one, Nurse Crane. Pretty brunette, tough attitude, all like that.
What's wrong with the hospital?
Come on, Dr. Reed. The place is a dump. Smelly, sad, and dirty.
But you're alive thanks to the efforts and dedication of the staff here, aren't you?
What are you expecting, a medal? I thought that saving lives was just part of the job. Must be an unsatisfactory profession at this time, I'm sure.
Do you ever think about that poor fellow I saw you push in the water?
The wound he gave me will make sure I don't forget him. Still fucking hurts. Boss had cut me good.
That man was determined to murder you. You almost died.
What a surprise. The first time I met him, he nearly shit himself. Fucking coward. I guess revenge gives you balls.
What did he want? Revenge?
I recently had to kill his brother. Poor arsehole thought it would be easy to return the favor.
Only the strongest survive, then? Survival at all costs. Is that all you think about?
I'm the toughest bastard you'll ever meet, Dr. Reed. And I don't give a fuck what you think of me.
How long do you think you can escape the law, Clay?
I know this city like the back of my hand, Doc. I know its streets, who to pay, who to avoid, and who to bully. I won't get caught.
The police may be slow, but they will find you eventually.
Well, how come you didn't turn me in then? Nah, Doc. I figure you have something to hide, so you can't ask the coppers for help. Killed, extorted, stole. Now I die. Fuck it. I live the way I wanted.
It's locked. It's locked. It's locked, all right. The flower's dying. It needs water. This must be Clay Cox's knife. A fine blade. No wonder he wants it back. Opium is one of the Main ingredients of Strickland's medication. Never a good move. This is Braille. I need someone who can read this.